Hey guys, Chelsea here, and in this video I'm going to be looking at basically what I think are the top 5 worst invasion maps. Now, obviously, of course, invasion it's an interesting game mode. Now, again, this is invasion, so I won't be including assault maps, confrontation, etc. Because I did do a top 5 worst maps a while back, but I included a lot of conquest maps, such as this one. But this time, I'm actually going to just be doing... Well, basically, I'm just going to be doing invasion maps. Now, I've got a few honourable mentions here. The first one is actually Ryberg Station. Now, these are honourable mentions in no specific order. So, first off is Wyberg Station, which is essentially a Wyberg Station. I always say Wyberg, but the problem with this station, with Wyberg Station, is actually the fact that it's just the same. It's a map already carved up, and the map itself wasn't really built for invasion. The same goes with Railway Bridge, so consider those two as joint honourable mentions. Another honourable mention is Versailles. Very annoying D-Day section, and then it has a lot of just dead track in the middle of the map. After that, I will have to say Unimag, and the problem with the Unimag is just that fucking Unimag point, and that point just sucks to take. The fact is that I don't know if this has been patched or not, but the fact that the defenders can build a fucking rally in the fucking point. The point is so huge that hunting down an enemy squad is a fucking nuisance. Ghoul Street also has the problem of you have to cross this fucking huge terrain just to get to the first point. So pretty much Stalingrad in general sucks. So yeah, we'll call out Stalingrad as honourable mentions. And with that being said, oh yeah, there's also one final one, D-Day, ironically. Now, D-Day was actually, when I was writing up the choices for this list, D-Day was a very good number one. Well, I'm not number one, it was about number 5 on the list. However, I decided to go against it and put a few more on this list. Anyways, let's start with number 5. Coming in at number 5 is Airfield, which is, of course, in the Normandy campaign. Now, I know many people will be like, Airfield at number 5, really? Well, when I say what's going to be ahead of Airfield, you'll understand. Airfield is bad, okay? Don't get me wrong. Airfield is by far just one of the most annoying maps to attack and defend on. The problem with Airfield is the maps will either go with one side with either the Allies getting completely spawn camped to oblivion, or the Axis getting steamrolled, and there is very few times where it is in between. That's the main problem with Airfield, is that the cards are so heavily stacked in favour of the Allies that it's not worth it. Like, for sometimes the Axis is not worth it. And if the Allies are bad and don't use their advantages, they get fucking steamrolled by the Axis. Because it's very easy to spawn camp on this map. As well as that, it's incredibly open. Now, open maps don't really mind too much. You know, some maps, for example, like, say, La Petite Village, whatever the fuck, it's an alright map. Alha is alright, despite being quite open. Fortress as well is quite good, you know. Birch Grove, Fortified District, Bellow, Monastery, Vescovo Village, Gulag Settlement, they're all very wide open maps. The problem is that they have a lot of cover with them, or camouflage, you know, which basically helps you with the map. Airfield, on the other hand, for the most part, is just a flat airstrip. And then the few times and also the points are just in the open. Like, and they're just individual buildings, or you have that individual bunker, and like you've got hangars which are dickish to attack and defend because they're so big. That's what she said. But yeah, Airfield is an easy, and I mean an easy number 5. And the fact is, there's actually worse maps than Airfield. Speaking of, coming in at number 4 is Braumhof West. Braumhof West, whatever the hell it is. Whatever. Just, I know many Germans. I think now I'm not including. Now, this isn't the north version of the map. It is the west version of the map. There is actually a difference between the two. You see, the north version of the map is actually pretty good. But the west version of the map is essentially a spawn trap for the Axis. So the Axis attack on this map with the Allies defending, but the problem with this is that just the Axis spawn is completely overlooked by the Soviets. The Soviets have an immediate advantage with this building here, and then they get to the second point, and sometimes it flips between a few points, and you know, one of them is really wide in the open. Another one is pretty much impossible for the Axis to take without taking insane amounts of casualties. And then after that, and then you've got another one which is just as bad. And that's the problem with Braumhof. It's just so bad to attack. It's really bad to attack, and it just sucks. It's basically, it actually is generally unfair. This was the first map, I think, when it came out, that was actually unfair in favour of the defenders. Like, you could say Airfield as well, because of the special mechanic where the defenders can get tickets back, the only map that they actually can. But Braumhof was just so bad, and it was so heavily stacked in favour of one side with the defenders. But yeah. Anyways, let's move on to number 3. Coming in at number 3 is Algebra Farm North. I believe it's the north side of the farm. It could be the south side, but it's... Either way, it's the side which has the building. And it's the side which actually has the demolition map. The Algebra Farm demolition map as well. So whatever side has the demolition or destruction map, it's that side, okay? Now, what's the problem with Algebra Farm? Well, it's another case of spawn camp central. Essentially, the enemy team has to take the starting point by the first minute of the game. If they don't, they will be spawn camped for the rest of the match. I'm not even kidding with this. You have to take the point immediately. If you don't take the point immediately, you'll be spawn camped for the rest of the game. And it is fucking frustrating. And the worst thing is, it's boring as well for the defenders. And there are times where it's just borderline aggravating. The worst part, though, is when you go up against 3 defenders, when you go against multiple defenders who build AA guns, multiple AA guns, and put them in such dickish locations that it just becomes unfun to actually play the game. Now, I've actually gone up against that, and those people, they know who they are. They were playing for Tunisia Axis, ironically, and generally, if you know who you are, you have no skill, and please Alt F4 off the game. Literally Alt F4 off the game. Never play it again. You generally have no skill. Okay, rant over. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I cannot speak for the community with the fact that they need to nerf AA guns, at least AA guns anti-infantry capabilities and anti-tank capabilities. Anyways, Algebra Farm, like I said, it's basically the antithesis of Spawn Camp Central, and it's probably the worst map in favour of the defenders. The only thing is, it's only the first point. After you've got past the first point, it's fine, but other than that, that first point is so disgusting that it takes it to the 3rd worst map on its own. I think had that first point been a little bit different, you know, and it was less spawn campy, then maybe Algebra Farm would probably be about... It might be in the top 5 for worst, because it's just average Tunisia, but yeah. It wouldn't be in the top 3. Anyways, let's move on to number 2. Coming in at number 2, we have Oasis. Now, Oasis's main problem is it's so fucking big. Okay, again, that's what she said. But the problem with Oasis is there's just nothing. And I mean nothing with these maps. It's literally just barren dunes. And that's it. Barren dunes, and then you occasionally come across a building or two. Honestly, this is... If I could compare it to any other level, it would be the frigid outskirts of Dark Souls 2. Only without the constant snowstorm. The problem with Oasis is it's just awful. You just have so many... You just have a lot of points where you're just like... Basically, all of the points, you know, you've got really no way to go to the point without being sniped. It's a sniper's paradise. There's very few... There's barely any cover. Like... And I feel like the full point's like in a tent area, which, you know, the tents get blown away so quickly that it doesn't really matter. It's generally just it's a awful map, and it's annoying to attack and it's boring to defend. But somehow it's only at number 2. And what will be number 1? Well, how about a map that's almost identical, only... like I said, Oasis actually has buildings. Let's just say that. To absolutely no one's shock, it's Quarry. Now, you might be saying, which Quarry? Quarry North or Quarry South? Quarry. Just Quarry. This is the worst invasion map. And if it wasn't for swamps being so god-awful, it would be the worst map in the game. Quarry just sucks. It's basically it's a tank, you know, a grey zone tanker's wet dream. Okay, this thing is just every arsehole player in the game's wet dream. Snipers, check. AA gunners, check. Grey zone campers, check. Bombers, oh yes, check. The only thing that doesn't really get accounted for are people like, you know, PPSH rushers. And even then, they have some wiggle room. The problem with Quarry is that every point is basically in the open. Like, you've got points which are completely in the open. Like, there's at least 3 to 4 points that are almost completely in the open. You have, like, random elevations. Like, for example, there's an elevation point, right, where if you're attacking from the north side, I believe it's the north side, it's one of the sides, the defenders literally fire down on you. Not to mention, as well, like, it's just a huge fucking pit with just the, like, occasional thing thrown here and there for no reason. Like, there's a random fucking bridge for some reason. There's a river for some reason. It's just awful to play. Like I said, it's every arsehole player's favourite map. If you like AA guns, if you like being an absolute wanker, Quarry is the perfect map for you. Anyways, I'm just going to end this video here. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Leave your thoughts in the comments, what you guys think of this list, and what you guys think is the worst map in the game. I know there's a lot of maps that could be mentioned. Join the Discord if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.